And last time we went over games 4, 6, 13. I don't remember if any others, but yeah, this time was planning on going over game 7, 8, 14, and maybe 12. You know, kind of see from there. But yeah, I guess we're gonna start off with game 7, this fragment. We're not gonna see the whole game, number 7, but start off maybe with this position. And it's black to play. So, all right, so I'm gonna shut down the chat now. Now you can only type directly to me. So it's black to play. What would you do here? Pawn is hanging, of course. So, okay, so far, not a lot of people gave me an answer, but those who have gave me the correct answer, black to play. Rook d8 is a good move. That's what Ding played. If rook h7, you play rook takes d3, and you're activating the rook. H5 would have been, of course, a mistake because of bishop g6, queen e6. Queen d6 would have also been a playable move, trying to go bishop c3, but rook d8 is good. And white played bishop e4. What would you play as black here? Yeah, so here black played bishop takes e4, which is okay. Bishop a6 was probably a better move though, keeping the bishop here, and if this bishop g7. Yeah, it turns out black has quite a lot of play here. It's gonna go rook d2, queen f4. And actually the best move according to Engine is rook takes g7. Like if you go rook h4, queen e5, yeah, threatening f5. And yeah, these bishops are very strong, so it's a very nice concept. So yeah, black played bishop takes e4, rook takes e4, rook d5. Now rook h4, maybe not the best move. Yeah, but there are like some concrete ideas like queen e5 and f5, and then like the wins the bishop and white's pieces are quite awkward. So that position is already good for black. But yeah, you can check it a bit more carefully later on your own. All right, so queen d6, queen e3, h5, g3, bishop f6, rook c4. And here, black being kind of low on time, probably should have just played king g7 and kind of waited here. Wait till he makes time control. And okay, he can never be worse here. And later on, maybe try to look for a winning plan. Instead, black played a move h4, which is objectively not so bad, but it's very committal because of his being low on time. Now he actually has to play very precise moves. White played g takes h4. And here, black made a mistake. What should black play here in this position? Rook d3, I think I have queen c5. Rook d2 is what was played in the game, so we'll take a look at that shortly. Rook e5 can play maybe queen f2. Or maybe even queen g3 is better. And I don't really see your next move. The best move is bishop e5. You want to attack the h-pawn. Queen e2. And bishop f4, threatening rook g4. And it turns out black has tons of compensation in this position. So activating the bishop and threatening some stuff. But this is where Ding froze, right? He had like 5 minutes, and he left himself with 45 seconds, and there was no increments. So basically 45 seconds for 8 moves. And he played not the best move. He played rook d2. Somehow he couldn't make bishop e5 work, I guess. White played rook e2, and here it's still approximately equal, but like even like a move like rook back to d5. But this is a blunder because after rook d3, queen c5. Well, the only question is, okay, here Ding just basically collapsed. He played this, rook f2, and here he just resigned because he's gonna lose on f7 and position collapses. But there was this interesting move, bishop d4, which could have been played. And okay, here at least, practically speaking, it would have been a tough choice for Nepo because, well, it's when he played queen c5, he had to actually calculate the move. That's why he spent some time on that move. He does have the safe option, queen d4 takes, but then black is completely fine, of course. Or he can play this and then allow this counterplay. But luckily for white, he's winning. It's pretty, well, it's relatively simple, but that's how should white win this? How should white get out of the perpetual? Yeah, of course, you play queen e5, you kind of find it by process of elimination because everything else actually loses. But here you're winning. Here you're eventually escaping this. Anyway, so this was the game number 7. Okay, let's look at game number 8. Game number 8 is even more interesting. Let's start off with, so first of all, white played some original, interesting opening idea. And then he played this very interesting pawn sack e5 in order to activate his pieces. You know, basically giving the knight on the e4 square, and now this pawn on d6 is really strong. And now white brings the queen in the game. And now g4, chasing away the knight. Bishop b7, rook h3. And here black needs to make an important choice. What should black do here? Which game was the most interesting to me? I think this game, number 8, I would say, actually. Maybe 14 was also good, but if I had to choose, I would say number 8. But I mean, most of them were quite interesting. Okay. Who do I like better, Ding or Nepo? I mean, I don't know them that well personally, so it's hard to say. But probably Ding I can sympathize a little bit more to. I feel like, at least put it this way, I feel like for me, if I had to work for someone as a second, I think Ding would probably be easier for me to work with. I have actually my reasons for it. Not because I actually second them, but because I feel like personality-wise and demeanor-wise, there's this kind of style I can relate to more. Okay, so let's see. A lot of you are giving me bishop takes e4 and then queen d6. Okay, interesting. Bishop e4, queen d6. Bishop e4, queen d6 is interesting, but there's the move rook d2 here, which might be tricky. Yeah, so knight d6 here. It's like, yeah, anyway, there are many interesting choices here. So I probably I made a mistake. I gave you guys the wrong puzzle. Okay, so knight h4. Knight h4 is good, yeah. Here there are many moves actually. This is I think, yeah, this is where the move is quite important. Yeah, in this position. I don't know where it's not. All right, so here the right move is rook h8. It's actually the only move. Rook h8 only move. But for what reason though? So in the game, black played bishop e4, which is a mistake. What happens in case of knight f5? F4 is going strong, yes. F4, and the funny thing is after bishop e4, there's this amazing rook h2 even here, threatening rook h7, rook h8, rook h7, threatening the checkmate. And white is, yeah, and if you play rook h8, I play rook h2, white is winning here. The pawn gets left unattended. Bishop takes e4, queen, rook h. Yeah, so knight f5 also loses. Bishop takes e4 was played in the game. Queen e4, knight f5. All right, the white to play, what to do? F4, same idea on rook h2. If you play f4 here, can play queen takes d6. Yeah, 4 queen d6, rook d2, queen c7. Not sure. Don't think it works. Rook h2, rook h8. And it sticks. And rook g8. Yeah, black's. Well, no, wait, 1 sec. Wait, rook g8, rook h7 here, queen a. Okay, maybe queen a8. No, queen a8 takes rook h7. Took two rooks for the queen. That doesn't work. Wait 1 second. Queen f1. Yeah, maybe just this move. Maybe just this move. Oops, sorry. Rook h7 here and then here. Yeah, I don't really see the win. Yeah. So yeah, I checked it with engine. Yeah, it doesn't work. F4, queen d6. Okay, I mean maybe queen e7 also works, but anyway, it's not it. Doesn't quite work. Um, let's see here. Queen e2, rook h2. Queen e5 is f6. Queen h2, rook h8. Not so easy. Or even fg. Rook d2. Rook d2 is the idea. Rook d2 wins. Now if knight d6, we take queen g5, we have queen e5. If queen f6, we have rook h7. F6, we have queen h2. If knight h6, f4. If rook h8 takes d7, white is winning. So black played rook h8. And yeah, now white played rook takes h8, queen h8. Yeah, now what? Now what? Think it through. Consider all your options. All right, very good, Ben, but make sure you give full solutions, not just one move, but some explanation. All right, a couple of you gave me correct answer. Let's give some more people a chance. Yeah, it does, yes. In this case, it does. Correct answer is rook d3, the most brute force winning move that was missed in the game. Rook d3, rook h3, threatening queen e5, killer idea. Basically, this would win more or less in the spot. There's just no defense. For example, rook d8, rook h3, queen here, queen there, and then this. Yeah, there's basically no defense. Queen e5 isn't so good because of king g8. And d7 is what was played in the game. But this is not so easy yet. So actually, Eric, the line you gave happened in the game. Takes here, and then the repeated moves, king h7, and eventually white played queen c7. But it's still not an easy win. First of all, queen f8, white is winning. I mean, white is much better, of course, has full control, like you said, but it's not an immediate knockout. Black tried this move, queen h4. All right, so now the question is, should we take the rook or not? Yeah. So queen takes d8, queen e4 check. And here this works because you have bishop e2, queen h1 perpetual, king d1, queen b1 perpetual, but you have rook e2. And yeah, Ding ended up assuming it's perpetual, but it's winning for white. So it's kind of funny that 2 games in a row, there was like a perpetual check that wasn't at some point in the game. White is winning. But Ding kind of, what happened was that Ding missed the move Queen H4. And sometimes when you miss an idea by your opponent, you kind of panic and you kind of trust it a little bit. And Ding was already low on the clock. And, obviously he lost his heartbreaking in game 7. And sometimes when your psychology is a little bit messed up, you end up ends up affecting your next game. And he was already getting a little bit low on time. He didn't want to like calculate it for 20 minutes and get low on time again if it would, let's say, turn out not to work. And so he quickly played King D1, but here it turned out he had to spend the time. Here, E5, Knight H6, Queen A7, Knight G4. Yeah, and here, oh yeah, here in this position, Black should have played Knight D4, but Black played E5, Knight H6, Queen A7, Knight to G4, and here, White played the move Bishop F3, which is a mistake. He should have played Queen B6 or Bishop C6. Still probably objectively winning position. Although it's a long story, but should be winning. Instead, White played this flunker, Bishop F3. And now, what should Black do here? E4 might also work, but the Knight F2 is simplest. Rook F2, and now E4, although Rook D7 was also working, and from here, Black was equalized, and they agreed to a draw. Now, what was most amazing about this match, which is, I think, what made the difference for Ding compared to Nepo, is that Ding had 2 very heartbreaking results in a row. The first, he lost game 7, where he was playing amazing chess, and then suddenly he had a meltdown and collapsed, right? He suddenly made like some bad chess moves in a row and got it low on time and kind of froze, called the Ding freeze, the game 7. So a game he probably was hoping to even win. He used the surprise and everything. He lost. And then to make matters worse, he had this game number 8, where he clearly was winning several times and he didn't win. So back to back, and also the prep got leaked. So it was basically 3 horrible, heartbreaking events in a row, like all within a span of 2 days. And at that point, many people, me included, thought, okay, that's it, match is over. There's just 2 equal players battling, and then all these circumstances are against you. There is no way you can come back from that. But as the match showed, if you have very good nerves and if you think positively, any kind of heartbreak you can come back from. And it started with, I think this is like the very underestimated part of what helped Ding win the match, is that he was able to stabilize between 9 to 11. because that's exactly something that Nepo did not manage to do last time against Magnus, right? When Nepo lost the heartbreaker in game 6, which could have gone his way, or at least he should not have lost, he collapsed, basically, right? He just lost 3 games after that. He started blundering, like he just completely collapsed after that. And it became a non-competitive match in the second half of the match. Ding, meanwhile, buckled down and played really good chess the next 3 games, stabilizing the situation, and did not self-destruct. So that meant that Nepo still had work to do last 3 games. The match was still on. He kept his nerves, he kept composure, he kept fighting, and good things happened, right? Like, if, at least you have to give yourself a chance. Like, if you just collapse, you're not going to give yourself a chance, right? But at least he gave himself that fighting chance. And also something similar happened recently. I'm going a little bit off topic, but it's related to sports psychology. So those of you who are following NBA, some of you might have seen how Miami Heat were like up 3-0, and then they lost 3 games. But it's not just that they lost 3 games. The game they lost in game 6, they lost in the most heartbreaking possible way. Right? I mean, they lost in the last because of like 0.3 seconds or something like that, right? It was 0.3 seconds separated them from going right to the finals, to having to suddenly play in a road game 7, right? So it's like super heartbreaking, right? And then they still showed up and won the game. So the point is that mental toughness is whatever, 0.1, like it was less than a second, right? It's just game of inches, like game of seconds. So my point is that sometimes things happen in sports. They do. But the point is, it's important to be mentally tough, right? And it's like, who wants it the most, right? And I think that's the big thing we can learn from Ding here, right? Like, despite all these heartbreaks that he faced, he still, didn't hang up and quit, right? And I think that's the big thing. So moving on, actually, I wanted to go over, we're going to skip games 9 to 11 because the content there wasn't as interesting. But I do want to go over game 14 because that was some kind of a very interesting game. We might go over game 12 as well if we have time, but game 14 I think is way more interesting from instruction standpoint of view. Yeah, and by the way, when you wrote no team has ever came back from 3-0, that's just in basketball, but in other sports they have. Yeah, I thought the Boston team will be the one to do it, the only one to do it in both sports, but it wasn't meant to be. Yeah, anyway, so e3 castles, bishop d2, d5, a3, bishop e7, knight to f3, c5, takes, queen c2, takes, knight d7. So this is game 14. They're level now, 7.5, 7.5. Rook d1, bishop e7. Okay, so what would you do here in this position? White to play. Or sorry, it was, yeah, here. white to play. Yeah, I think Austin, I think that's true. Yeah, I think this in the against e4 is the Berlin that's a problem, and the Petrov, and against d4 there's this semi-Tarrasch, right? c5, cd, c takes d4, right? Those kinds of lines are kind of like worked out to some extent, right? So that's, and against Catalan there are also some Karpov line. It's also kind of worked out. So that's probably why people are just trying to get a game. You play Cemeterish. Okay, I guess I'm not gonna play main line against you then. Uh, Thanks for letting me know, I guess. Okay, so yeah, the correct move is e4, e5. Yes, trying to get control over the center. Yeah, if queen c7, knight b5, and castle is pretty good. And if e5, you can go bishop e3 castles, and white's getting much more use of the d5 square than black is from the d4 square. So on knight g5 was played in the game, and that move is too ambitious. Well, it's a mistake because Ding missed black's reply to it. So what would you do as black here? Well, bishop e7 wasn't the best move, but the way to punish was by playing e4. But once white didn't play e4, then now it's actually good for black again with proper play. Try not to just give lazy one move solutions. Actually, give some follow behind them. Give some ideas. Try to consider what opponent can do against your move, right? Try to. You guys are too good players to just give me one move solutions. Okay, so 95, several of you are giving me 95. 95, oh, my apology. Again, I messed up. Yeah, it was supposed to be this position. Sorry, this position. It was supposed to be this position. Obviously, 95 is a big candidate, but yeah, well, actually, if let's see, 95 here, whether it makes sense. I mean, yeah, 95 here, okay, it's playable. I mean, h6 is a better move, but h6 was supposed to be the best move, actually. For some reason, nobody suggested h6, which is a bit surprising. Maybe you guys thought it's too obvious. Why didn't you guys like h6, by the way? Because h6 is like the most obvious move to attack the knight, but somehow nobody, too obvious. That's because it doesn't make a good puzzle. Well, okay, but I mean, yeah. Sometimes, it could be tricky. Couldn't see what to do against h4. Okay, but h4 is a very committal move, right? h4 is committal. Okay, I understand, but you should at least think logically. Yeah, I mean, if h6 looks obvious, I mean, why is it not the best move? Yeah, don't just you know, you want to be thinking and like a make-believe it's actually your game. Like during a game, it's nobody's gonna tell you it's a puzzle or something. Yes, so yeah, no, h6 was best move. I mean, okay, anyway, so h6, h4. What to do with black now? Well, we'll see. You'll see why h6 is better. We'll analyze it, but first let's try to find the best idea here, and then we'll see why including h6 was good. I mean, I think mainly it's just because inducing h4 is could be a useful thing in some cases. a6 with idea of b5, okay. Knight e5 needs c4, g6. c7 with idea rook d8, knight f8, knight b6. Knight b6, I'm not sure about that move. I think I can just go bishop e2, followed by knight e4. If you go here and then g6, I mean, actually the best move is knight g4 here, but g6, yeah, this looks risky. I don't know, bishop c3. Feels like here position looks quite shaky. Let's see. Yeah, a6 is possible, but yeah, a6 is a possible move, I guess. But the best move is queen c7. We want to hit the bishop. Yeah, because the bishop, okay, has to decide what to do, and then we're preparing maybe rook d8, knight f8, right? And yeah, knight e4, b5, exactly. Yeah, trying to trade queens. That's also a thing. And yeah, after queen c7, it's not easy to find a move. Knight b5, queen c6, g2 is hanging. Bishop e6 doesn't really work because yeah, the take here. Black is doing really well here. So yeah, doesn't really work. So bishop e2 was played. I mean, Ding ended up having to go back. But now it's black who suddenly has the upper hand, right? Black is doing pretty well. Yeah, so this knight g5, h4 was too ambitious because after queen c7, black. Queen c7 is a move that really takes advantage and punishes white. Like knight e5 is also an attempt to do that, but runs into knight e4, which is annoying. And playing it right away, I guess you could do it, but you would rather force him to play this weakening move h4, and which in this case, yeah, it's not really helping because now it's white can't even castle, and like he ended up having to liquidate anyway. But that now the pawn h4 is kind of weak, right? It's not easy to castle, so you know white has inconveniences to deal with. And okay, here white played bishop b4, takes bishop c6, and here, yeah, so bishop b4 wasn't really good, and neither was knight c5. Ding was hoping to sack the pawn to get some counterplay because he realized he was a bit worse. He wanted to change the course of action. But it turns out that after this, black could take the pawn and get a better position, either with what Nepo did, bishop d5, or even maybe better, this one here, and then b6, and then take with the knight. Black emerges with an extra pawn here simply, without a lot of compensation. So black played this instead, then here, then back, gave up the pawn, and then took the d4 square. Still good for black. Here the simplest was to go g6. Okay, so in this position, what would you do with white after rook d8? Um, Rook 1 g3 is losing because of rook takes d3 first of all. Rook g3, probably bishop b5 is good enough. So white did play king e2, but the correct move was king d2, because after bishop b5 you could get into this endgame, which is probably holdable. Instead you played king e2, which is a mistake because it allows rook c3. And sorry. Yeah, you're right. Right, one on the rook g8. Yes, you're right, of course. But maybe it's still rook c3 like in the game then. Yeah, maybe it's still unpleasant. King d2. No, king d2 you can't play because of this, so you probably have to give a check and then. Yeah, this position now. Rook a3. Yeah, looks good for black, but maybe it's not easy win. Let's see. Yeah, looks holdable. So where did I make a mistake? So this is so maybe it's good. Maybe it's good too. Rook g3. Yeah, it's probably playable as well. But okay. King e7 though. King e7 apparently it's still difficult. Yeah, probably king d2 is the simplest. White like this, rook c3, rook here, king e7, rook g3. And now what should black do here? So if we take on d3, we take on e8. That's the thing, yeah? It's not so simple. Yeah, this endgame is not winning though, yeah? Rook a3. Rook d4, preparing rook cd3. Hmm. Yeah, maybe. It's also interesting. No, actually, yeah, I don't think that works for a very specific reason for white. Actually, that's a good exercise. Why does this line not work? I think it doesn't. Yeah, b6 is b6, ab, rook e8. Yeah. Yeah, and if you play intermediate move, I think it also does not work. Here, I go here. And the same thing with this. I think I promote. So actually, that's kind of what happened in the game, just under different circumstances. The best move is something like rook b3. Would have been a nice prophylactical move. Rook h8, rook d4, and then preparing rook d3 eventually at some point. Like you can't take because of this and this. So it would have been very deep prophylaxis. And after e5, you can go rook d4. Nepo played a very logical strategical move, played e5, blocking these pawns. Looks like a really good classical move, but here is where white found this really nice resource. b6. Rook h8 first, rook d6, and now brilliant move b6. A combination to simplify into a pawned out endgame, but one where the rook gets behind the passed pawns. Like in f here, then you have this and this. And white is able to get behind the passed pawns. And eventually, even though it's still not easy, this endgame was always, well, white was always holding this endgame. And from this point on, Ding, did not give Nepo objective chance. Maybe Nepo could have found better practical chances, but never was he objectively winning, and Ding heroically held his endgame, and the match went tied into the tiebreaks. Definitely missed chance for Nepo, but the biggest missed chance was obviously game 12, where if Nepo was winning that game, which he was winning, it was kind of over, right? He would have just been up 2 with 2 to play. Would have been very tough. It was actually kind of an interesting game, and again, it's like since we're kind of out of time, we're not gonna like go over it deeply. There's like plenty of recaps on it anyway. But like this is all pretty normal, right? I mean, they're both playing reasonable chess, and here white should have played this, but the problem is like Ding needed a win, and this would be probably a draw. Bishop h2, some repetition of moves. So white played this move, bishop c2, but now black started to outplay white. And well, yeah, around here, yeah, here black should have just played a6, and there was really very little counterplay for white, and practically looks lost. So first of all, it's unclear why black played b4. But even here, it was still winning, but knight f3 is only winning in like based on very concrete line, which is not easy to calculate. Like it's only winning because in the end there's this move b3, which to see from far away it's very difficult, obviously. So understandably Nepo, yeah, b3, bishop a3. So understandably Nepo played this, and then there were like a bunch of mistakes for both sides. Like Ding missed this, followed by like some d5, whereas Oh no, it was here. Yeah, it was here, d5. So they were both missing lots of interesting stuff. And eventually Nepo, in an already unpleasant position, just made an unexpected collapsed blunder f5 and ended up losing this game. The rapid was very interesting. It's actually pretty high quality, I would say, the rapid games. Again, we won't really have much time to take a look at it in depth, but well, the last game was the last game was quite nice in the end. After d6 white, he resigned. I mean, he's down on exchange and his king is, collapsing. It's getting mated or something. Yeah, the last game of the match was like the only time Ding ever led the match. Sorry, Ding never led the match, and then the one time he led, he wins, right? It was kind of very heartbreaking for Nepo, obviously. Okay, here he had, this was his one chance to like be better. He had to play rook d2, but it's a very like unnatural move to move away the rook from the a file. But yeah, eventually obviously the moment people are talking about was here, where Ding played rook g6 instead of repeating moves in an equal position with less time on the clock. So very brave play, self-pinning the rook. And I would say it was very good objectively because it's still equal, but harder for white to play. And queen f5, h4 should have been played. And eventually, after some adventures, Black won the game. Although there was this fun moment where Black probably did not play c2 because of this and king h2, but there is a queen f7 move, which defends everything. And threatens queen takes f2 in some cases. Yeah, instead he played this, and at some point, like Nepo could have made a draw with either this or h5, but stopping queen g6 and preparing queen f7. But instead of that, he played there and ended up losing the game set match. So quite exciting match. Too bad we didn't go through like every game, every moment. It would have been a lot of fun, but also very time consuming. But okay, there is already so much recap out there that I didn't want to like cover everything. I just wanted to cover at least the moments that I thought were the most instructive, teachable moments. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the material I did on the match. And yeah, hopefully see you guys all next time. All right.